What's up, y'all? It's Sierra Nicole. Welcome back for another video today. Today's video is how I moved into an apartment at 19 years old all by myself with no cosigner.
Doesn't make sense now. Shit just got real, things are getting intense now. I hear you talking about we a lot, or you speak French now.
Now, I'm gonna go ahead and write down a list because I'm doing this just free-handed right now off of just my mind. Or I might not write anything down. Let's just do like a raw, uncut video. Let's do raw, uncut. Not raw, uncut. Oh, it's gotta be cut. But I'm just gonna do a raw video based off of everything that, I know as far as trying to move out. Because moving out at 19, being a 19-year-old, period, moving out of your parents' house at such a young age is not normal. Y'all see that on TikTok and YouTube and all of those social media platforms, but in reality, moving out as a teenager period is not normal. Most people stay at their parents' house until they graduate college. I'm still in college, so y'all probably like, what the fuck? But I'm gonna tell y'all how y'all can do it if this is what you want to do. If you have stable parents and you like living at home and you have no problems or no issues at home, or nothing is challenging you, your parents are paying for school, or you have a free ride at home or at school or anything, stay your ass at home. I don't want to be paying bills at such a young age, but if you have to, this is the video for you. I'm gonna kind of do this as a how I did it versus with plus tips on how to move out at 19, because it's serious. This shit is serious. If you want to move out by 19 years old, if you're trying to move out by a teenager period, I'm gonna do those tips as well. But if you want to move out after you already have became an adult, I'm also gonna give you tips for that. So first, I'm gonna start with credit cards. You have to have a good credit above, I believe, 500, maybe 550. You need to have over a 5, at least a 600 credit score to even be considered for an apartment period. And if you are trying to move out by 18 years old, I suggest, if you have good if you have parents with good credit, ask them to put you on as a authorized user. I believe it's something like that. That's what my mom did. So I was put on as an authorized user, but I never used the card. And until I got my very own card, I never used the card. I just didn't use it for anything. She would use it, she would pay it off. My credit would be her credit, would be my credit, and she started building off my credit, and my credit is a 725 score at the moment. I have above average credit score for a 19-year-old woman, period. So that's my really good advice, is to ask your parents if they have good credit, only if they have good credit, or ask your aunt, ask somebody you trust that you know has good credit that won't make your credit bad by adding you as an authorized user. Now, if you are trying to kind of move out at 19, 20 years old, even then that's still young, get a credit card as soon as you turn 18. Put little purchases on it, either little purchases or put on purchases that you know you're gonna pay off, like your subscriptions, like Disney Plus, so Spotify, Apple Music. Put those on there. Gas, put that on there and pay it off every month before the statement date. Look up what your statement date is, look up what your due date is, and pay it before the statement date. And don't spend nothing during the amount between your due date and the statement date. Your credit will go up, and between 18 and 19, 18 and 20 years old, your credit will be high enough for you to be able to apply for an apartment and be approved, probably, as long as your income as well. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about how much you should save for an apartment. Now, depending on you, you could save $1,000 and use the next check for, I forgot what it's called, but depending on the person. Personally, I saved $5,000 to move into my apartment. I saved 3 months of rent. I ended up using some of it to pay for furniture, because I moved in with literally no furniture. I used some of that to get my couch and get my bed frame and get stuff like that, because I had no furniture whatsoever. I don't recommend doing what I did, but I do recommend saving at least 3 months of rent, so you don't have to worry about rent period for 3 months. You just have to make sure that you have enough income to keep going with rent. I mean, you can save however many months of rent that you want. Me personally, I just saved 3 months of rent because that was the easiest for me. Saving $5,000 period was the easiest amount of money that I could save in a little bit of time. If you want to save a whole year's worth of rent, do it. I suggest you save however much you can. Save however much you can, because you can keep pocketing your money and use it for, I guess, other expenses other than rent if you have the rent money. I suggest save as much as you can and store as much as you can. If you know you're moving out in a year, start buying your stuff around that time. I did that. I started buying stuff for my apartment 2-3 years before I even decided I was going to move out at 19 years old. I've started putting away stuff and buying things and storing it in plastic storage. Now, if you have a place to store it at your parents' house and they allow you to do that, go ahead and do it. Or buy you a storage unit and put all your stuff in the storage unit. And by the time it's time to move out and move into your new apartment, all your stuff, you have everything that you need. I recommend buying stuff and saving it, as well as saving at least $5,000, at least 3 months rent, plus money set aside. So your security deposit, your application fees, background check fees, all that kind of stuff. Any hidden fees that your apartment complex you may not know of. And also saving for furniture and stuff like that, because that's really important. You're gonna want to, I mean, like, depending on the person, you might be okay with not having your apartment furnished, but I am not that person that is okay with my apartment not being furnished. It doesn't have to be fully furnished, but I want it to be at least livable. Like, I can bring my friends over and they have a place to sit, a place to sleep. You know what I mean? So now that you have saved and you've started putting things away, now we're going to talk about expenses, because there's a lot of expenses that go into having your own place and living on your own. Let's say your parents bought you a car and maybe they were paying the payments. Maybe they might ask you, oh, now that you're living on your own, you can pay your own car payment. You can pay your own car insurance, right? So my parents said to me, but I didn't have a car payment, but I'm about to have a car payment. I'm getting a new car. And y'all are going to see that video as well. But, if your parents are like that, and they're going to be like, oh, since you're, getting older and you're moving out on your own and doing all this shit by yourself, how about you go ahead and do that? Make sure you have a stable enough income to support your rent and support all of these expenses. Because right now, as far as I am concerned, this is what I pay. This is my expenses. Wi-Fi is $75. My car is going to be probably like $400 when I get my car. My car insurance is probably going to be $500. Now, personally, I got in 2 accidents, so that's probably why my car insurance and my car payments are more, than other people. But Wi-Fi, $75. Car insurance, $500. Car payment, $400. Electric, $80 to $100. Right now it's $100 because I got all the Christmas shit up. Subscriptions are $61 a month. I can go down the list. I have a list right here of all of my expenses. Make sure you keep track of all your expenses, because them shits and them subscriptions creep up on you. Rent, $12.67 with water not included. My phone bill is $73 a month, and my subscription to Planet Fitness is $25 a month. My renter's insurance is $15. Now that's nothing, but it's $15 a month. It's just all that little stuff add up, so you have to make sure that you can afford rent on top of your expenses, because rent on top of my expenses right now is probably like $1,500 a month that I am spending just to live, not including groceries. And I eat a lot. I'm a big bag, so I eat a lot and I spend a lot on food, and I spend a lot on eating out and stuff. So you have to factor all of what you spend all the time. Make sure you know what you spend, and don't be like, oh, I think I'm gonna spend money on this, or this is how I think I'm gonna spend money. No, track your spending before you even move out, because if you're spending $200 a week on eating out and you think that you're only gonna spend $50 a week on eating out, but in actuality, according to your expenses on your credit card or whatever, oh, actually I'm spending $300 a month on eating out and not even groceries, period. So you gotta think about like what you spend and how you're gonna control your spending, because it's all about budgeting once you move out, especially at a young age, because it's hard to get a good job out here, and it's hard to get a job that's going to pay you enough to even support yourself, and period, especially in America. Know where your money is going. When you know where your money is going, it's easier to budget. So that's my big tip, is know what your expenses are, your monthly expenses, and how you spend, and you need to cut that shit down, because living on your own is not for the weak. That, like, as soon as your paycheck comes, here comes rent, here comes car insurance, here comes everything. Like, you're getting billed every single week for something. Your money is going out of your bank account immediately. You need to have some money to save. It's just like, make sure you have a good enough job, because expenses and rent, all of this stuff creeps up on you. But me personally, this is not to discourage you. This is for my mental peace. Being able to move out, live on my own, not to deal with yip yapper in my ears left from right. This is my mental peace. Being able to move out is my mental peace. Like, I feel good. Like, I'm okay. I'm enjoying my rent, period. Now we're gonna get into like actually like your income, as far as like actually trying to get approved for an apartment, period. So the main things that you're going to need to be able to get approved for an apartment is your credit has to be good. You got to be good, and we already talked about this. We already know what score it is. Now, me personally, I got approved straight through, and I only had to pay $300 for the security deposit. Now, some places might make you pay a full month's worth of rent as your security deposit. So imagine I had like a 550 credit score, like the minimum, and they approved me. They approved me with conditions. That's what it's called when they don't approve you straight through. They approve you with conditions, because maybe your income is a little lower, or maybe your credit is a little lower, or maybe your debt to income ratio on your credit card is a little skeptical. It depends on a lot of factors, whether you get approved straight through or whether you get approved with conditions. Now, if you get approved with conditions, for my specific apartment, it was from $300 to a full month of rent. So they can charge you however much money as your security deposit. So you need to make sure that you have that already factored into your savings. Now, along with that, your income has to be 2.5. As you have to research this when you are looking for an apartment, because my apartment specifically, you had to have 3 times the amount of rent as your monthly income. So if your rent is $1,200, you need to be coming in with, let's do the math, 1,200 times 3. Your monthly income, like the monthly income, that your monthly gross income without taxes getting cut out, is $3,600 a month. Sorry, y'all. I have to deal with this hating ass bitch on my TikTok. Get the fuck off my TikTok if you don't like how I'm dancing. Bitch, we're not even gonna get into it. We're not even gonna get into it. I'm gonna call you out and shut you down. Because, bitch, get the fuck off. God damn it. Move. We don't like you. I don't like you. Get off my page. If you have nothing nice to say, then don't say it at all and keep your shit off my page. The fuck? Anyway. Let's carry on. We went over credit, and we went over 3 times the rent as your income. So make sure whatever the amount of rent that you are willing to pay, your income needs to be 3 times that amount. And searching for an apartment, it is a long process. If you know what you want, maybe it might not be a long process. But for me, it was a long process because I'm indecisive as fuck. You need to be looking at the Google reviews. You need to be looking at the amenities that you want. You need to be looking at, oh, how much does it cost to have a dog or have a cat or have any sort of pet. If you want to bring your pet, you need to see, oh, what are you okay with as far as square footage? You need to see, oh, you know, is this management company a good management company? Like, do they have bad reviews? Do people say this management company's bad? Da, 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 da. You need to be looking up all that good stuff. Now, also, you have to be looking at what you actually want in the apartment. Do you want a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom? How much square feet? 900, 800, 700, 600, 500 even. Do you want to live in a shoebox? Are you okay with living in a shoebox? Or do you want to live in a 3-bedroom apartment? Who the fuck knows? If you're 19 living in a 3-bedroom apartment, what job do you have? I would like to know. I recommend using apartment.com, Apartments, the purple app. the rent app. There's a lot of apps that I used. I was looking for, but a lot of the apartments were coming up the same, like as far as like my specific like filters that I put in for what I wanted in my apartment and how much I wanted to pay. Only certain apartments were popping up. I live in Atlanta, so apartments are everywhere. Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches, because literally there's a bad review for every single apartment. There might be a really, really bad review out of tons of good reviews. There's going to be at least one bad review. So don't let that one bad review like kind of discourage you from choosing an apartment, because that's what I did, and that's why I went back and forth with a lot of apartments. Like pick and choose what specific apartment and with reviews actually, like maybe this person is overreacting. Think about, oh, you know, this is a new build, so obviously they're going to be roaches. When you have a new build, you're guaranteed roaches. And it's just how it is, because you just disturbed a whole you just disturbed their whole community. They're going to want to find a way to get back into some sort of, they're going to try to find a way inside. That's why new builds typically have all sorts of creatures and weird rodents and shit. I live in a rather older apartment complex, so I have not seen a goddamn roach at all. The most I've seen in this apartment that I've killed is a stink bug. As far as questions you should be asking, as far as like touring and stuff like that, TikTok has so many resources for you, especially with like moving into a new apartment. If you're just touring like model units of places that you are interested in, make sure you ask questions that they may not have listed on the apartment site. Just like research, you know, anything that may be a concern to you. Make sure you research all these things. Make sure you ask these questions, because asking questions gets you answers. As far as model units go, it's really just looking at the unit, seeing if you like it, But if you are touring an actual unit that you are actually interested in, like you applied for this unit, you need to be asking, who was the previous tenants? Did they have a dog? Did they have this? Because you can get the carpet replaced. You need to be testing the outlets. You need to be testing the water. You need to be looking behind. You need to be seeing if the baseboards are lifting, because that might mean rodents. Looking for wood chippings to see if there may be, I forgot what they're called, but stuff that eats the wood. You need to be checking behind the fridge. You need to be looking for droppings. You need to be looking for all this stuff. You need to be testing lights, testing all of the switches, testing all of the electrical outlets, like every single outlet. You need to be making sure that all of them work, all of the lights work, everything. Toilets, showers, cabinets. When you first move in, record. As soon as you, like before you move a goddamn thing in there, clean and record. Obviously record, but clean and record. And record your unit before you move in or before you sign the lease, because they might try to switch up the unit on you. They might be like, oh, you know, unit 245 is your unit, but you get in there and your unit is looking a little different, or like some stuff that's in the unit that you recorded is not the same as the unit they gave you, and maybe you actually have 325. Make sure you record the unit number and everything. You need to be testing the water pressure. You need to be testing the heat, doors, windows. Really, really good. You need to make sure your windows work and make sure everything works with that, because it is a safety hazard if it's not. Make sure your AC works, because I had a lot of issues when I first moved in with the AC. My heater kept going out, and it's literally cold as fuck outside. So for my heater not to be working, I'm still trying to get like some stuff with that. But this is just what comes in with an older apartment. That is what I would look for and what I would test as far as touring. For actual units, model units, you're just kind of looking at what they actually kind of like want you to see. Like if you're touring, like if you want to see a 1-bedroom apartment and they show you a model apartment, that's just kind of showing you like, oh, this is how you could design it. But you really want to see an actual unit. And if they don't ever want to show you an actual unit, don't go with that apartment, because they should be showing you the actual unit as well as the model unit. If you're okay with having roommates, by all means get a roommate, because rent is so expensive. And for me, I live alone, but I live with my man. If you're okay with having a roommate or living with somebody, living with your best friend, I don't recommend living with somebody you like no. unless you guys have a solid as fuck friendship. That is the only way that you'll be able to live together, because I have had a lot of issues with roommates in the past. Don't move in somebody that you're like this with. You need to be like this with that person. Just being real. Rent is too expensive to be paying $1,200 when you could pay $600. But if you are okay, if you are completely okay and you're financially stable to be paying $1,200 rent like I am, do it for your sanity. But living alone is the best feeling in the world. So if you can afford it, live alone. But if you can't afford it, I suggest getting a roommate. This is just me coming off of like my head at the moment. I have nothing written down at the moment anymore. Last minute stuff that I think helped me move into my apartment at such a young age. Obviously we went over the credit, being an authorized user, making sure your income is up there, making sure that you know you save enough, and save however much you want to. Just save as much as you can, because saving is so important when you're living alone. And you know, it's just a lot of like money goes down the drain like this. 100 is the new 20. If you don't take anything from this video, the one thing I tell you to do is save. You're just gonna save a lot of money buying things before you even get here. Don't be like, just make sure you cut your expenses. If you're trying to move, you need to be saving as much as you can. Save clothes, like don't be buying clothes, don't be buying all this, don't be buying clothes, shoes, all this, don't be buying a whole ton of Christmas gifts. Don't be buying all that if you know you're trying to move, because you're not going to get to where you need to be if you're buying stuff that you don't actually need. Make sure that your mental is good, because right now working full-time as well as a student full-time is very, very, very hard. So make sure your mental is in the right headspace to be able to do things like this, because as a teenager, as well as being in college, living on my own, not living in a dorm, that is expensive. I gave every tip that I can think of off the top of my head. I will answer any questions that y'all have in the comments. Just make sure that you know this is what you're doing for you. If you don't have to move out if you don't want to, depending on your situation. If your situation calls for you to move out, move out. It will be so much better when you do move out. You will feel so much better. A weight will be lifted off your chest if you move out. But if you don't have to, don't do it until you absolutely feel like you need to. For the people that are watching this video, it's like, I have to move out. I'm dealing with stuff at home. I just can't live here anymore and I need to move out. Get to stacking your bread. Start now. Start as early as you can. If you're 15, 16, if you just got your first job, stack your bread. I know you ain't got no damn bills. You're 16 years old. What do you have to do? What do you have to pay for? Stack your bread. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope this was informational for you guys. I really want y'all to win. If y'all actually have to move out, please do it. Do it for your safety. Do it for your mental. Just do it. I love you guys so much. If you have any questions, make sure you comment down below. Also, make sure you like this video, because duh. And if you want to see more videos like this, or just videos period from somebody with my personality, make sure you subscribe to this video. My name is Sierra Nicole, if you didn't already know. And I love you guys. Peace.